And we're live.
Peace world. So we're gonna give you a quick little rundown of what we got going on here in the mead making arena of the universe. So we've been taking all of these amazing ingredients and grinding them and chopping them and processing them down so that we can make a really strong brew. And so we're going to take a minute to talk about some of the different ingredients that are going in here. We'll start with the elder. This is a really awesome, amazing being. This is chaga, Anonotis obliquus. It's a very powerful, very well-respected mushroom being. It's actually not a mushroom itself. This is a sclerotia or mycelial protrusion that occurs on birch trees, and it's been very highly regarded for a very long time in Eastern Europe and in various parts of the world, and really grateful to have it as an element in our mead. It's got compounds in it that are said to be anti-cancer. It's got betulinic acid, it's got polysaccharides, triterpenes, melanin. It's got a lot going on to it. Look up chaga, C-H-A-G-A, or Anonotis obliquus, I-N-O-N-O-T-U-S-O-B-L-I-Q-U-U-S, I think.
If they got that, it's magic to them.
Yeah. And then this is another elder. So this is black birch, and this grows on birch trees. So we're bringing in birch vibes real heavy in this mead. Black birch is a native to this area, as is the chaga. All of these herbs are wild crafted, so they're relatively native up and down the East Coast. Black birch has a compound in it, or a class of compounds called methyl salicylates, and that's the flavor and scent of wintergreen, if you're familiar with that. Really gives it that deep root beer kind of taste that we're so familiar with, and that's also birch beer is a really common treat that we've been steeped in. So we're bringing in the black birch medicine, really good friend, really powerful ally. And this piece of bark, you can see it's pretty big, pretty mondo piece of bark. This came from a tree that had fallen in the national forest. And so it's all very sustainably harvested. And then the next thing we've got is Rumex obtusifolia, or yellow dock. Anything where the common name is dock, that tells you that it was used traditionally as a liver medicine. In particular, the roots were used as liver medicine. And these are the roots right here. Gnarly suckers. This is
yeah, we've been
really
washing those all night and they're still dirty.
So this is a long-lived perennial plant.
Beautiful.
And it's a really good friend for us to align with because it has excellent greens. The greens have an excellent flavor to them when cooked, and it's a long-lived perennial, so this is a great perennial vegetable. There's a relative that people call French sorrel, and that's Rumex acetosa. I think that's a pretty important permaculture crop. It's like a cultivated variety of this same plant, but it's been cultivated for many years to be more tender and delicious, and so that Rumex acetosa can be a good plant to have in your garden if you like cooked greens. And then speaking of cooked greens, we've got another good friend here where we've got, do we have any of those roots still kicking around?
I think we chopped them all up.
Yeah, we
can talk about them.
But yeah, we can still talk about it. And here's the leaves. I'm sure some of the people watching this will recognize these leaves.
You know what those are.
And if you look in close, you see that? That's where it gets its name. Arrgh. The tooth of the lion. Dandelion. Dandelion. So this is Taraxacum officinale. This is like one of the most amazing plants in the world. I think it's a great example of where we're going, where we're at, and where we've been, because where we're going, this plant is the future. You know, this plant is here to help us get through this transition, because it's everywhere. You know, that tells us one thing, that it's jumping up everywhere. That tells us that we probably need a more intimate relationship with this plant. And then where we've been, this is a plant that was brought over from Europe, and the story that I heard that I really like is that the Italians brought dandelion over here knowing that if they had only one plant with them, dandelion, they could survive with just dandelion. You can eat the roots, you can eat the leaves, you can eat the flowers, you can eat the seeds. They stay green all year round. They're just really powerful allies.
So just so we're clear here, dandelions are not a weed, in the sense that they are beneficial for your gardens and for your lawns and for your home.
Well, just to be very clear, the difference between a weed and an herb is knowledge.
Indeed.
And when you get to know a being,
Respect.
it's hard to start looking at them as a weed or a pest.
Yes.
You know, it's easy to look at a person and say, oh, they're pesky, or they're annoying, or they're this, or they're that. But then once you really start slowing down and getting to know them and relate to them on their level, you see that they've got talents and they've got skills and they've got gifts to share, and you just weren't giving them a chance. You weren't giving them time or space to share their gifts with you. And dandelion is very much the same way. It's got a lot of gifts, a lot of talents, a lot of powerful energy to share with us.
Yes.
And this is another very powerful being. This is Smilax boninox. This is a variety of smilax that grows down in Florida, and at the Florida Earth Skills Gathering this year, the land that the gathering was hosted on, Little Orange Creek, it was being cleared out. A section of it was being cleared out to eliminate some invasive shrubs that had kind of taken over the area. Invasive,
right. Let's
you know,
let's put our exactly.
Put our quotations up.
Weeds, invasive,
exotics.
There's blessings trying to help communicate.
Misunderstood beings that we brought over here from other parts of the world, and now they have established themselves in an ecosystem in a way that we don't appreciate. So let's appreciate them. Let's appreciate them for sure. Right. But the Smilax boninox, since they were clearing that whole area out, they were using excavators to do it, and backhoes and trackhoes. And so there was piles and piles of Smilax kicking around all over the place. And if there's any wildcrafters watching this and you've ever tried to forage for Smilax roots, you know it's a ridiculously intensive process. Even in a place like Florida where the soil is mostly sand, there's a shoot of catbrier or greenbrier or blaspheme vine. There's a lot of different names for it. A lot of people are very familiar with it. If you saw it, you would totally recognize it. Really straight thorns on a vine that stays green all year round. Really snarly thing. I mean, it'll poke you and prick you and get all caught up on you like barbs. And so you find these little shoots of the green spiny pokey thing, and then you go to dig it up, and it turns out that shoot is connected to a runner that goes 30 feet to the left and then comes to another little cluster of shoots, and then you think, oh, now I've got it, and you dig around and there's no tuber. So I was really stoked to see piles and piles of these tubers laying around all over the place, because this is another powerful healer and good friend to hang out with. It's got androgens in it, which are very similar to testosterone chemically, and I don't think it necessarily behaves like testosterone in the body, but it gives our body all of the precursors and all the elements that it needs to produce testosterone, to synthesize testosterone. And so it can be very useful for people who have hormonal imbalances, especially male-bodied people who are inundated with xenoestrogens in the plastics and you know, in our drinking water. Things like birth control are getting into our water systems, and we're consuming that in trace amounts, and it kind of throws off our hormones and can cause problems. So this plant can be a very helpful friend. And these androgens can also be used for people like bodybuilders, people who just want to build more muscle. Testosterone is a very important aspect of that. And the people who subsisted on this plant were like brick house people, the Timucuan Indians of South Georgia and North Florida. Average height of a man was like 7 foot. Average height of a woman was like 6'4", and they were just stacked like really strong human beings. So definitely, if we want to be strong human beings, we should develop more of a relationship with the various species of smilax. And the reason we're including it in this mixture, you'll notice a theme here. We've got chaga, which has kind of an earthy, sweet flavor to it. We've got black birch, which has that methyl salicylate kind of wintergreen sort of flavor to it. We've got dandelion root, which is a classic earthy and sweet kind of flavor. And we've got yellow dock, which is another classic root flavor. And we've got the smilax. So Smilax regalii is what we commonly call sarsaparilla, and that's one of the original flavors in root beer. The thing that all of these things have in common is they're common root beer ingredients. And so this one is like one of the quintessential root beer components, commonly called sarsaparilla, Smilax regalii, down in Jamaica and the Caribbean area. And then this is another one that's also called sarsaparilla, and this is another native that is very abundant in the Northeast and can be very abundant in patches here in Maryland and more southern regions of Appalachia. This is a ginseng family member that is called Aurelia nudicalis, or sarsaparilla is a common name for it, or dwarf ginseng is a panax actually. But you see these nodes, so these are the leaves. Give you kind of an idea here. These are the leaves. This is actually one leaf, and these are leaflets on a single leaf. And if you look at where the leaf comes out of, where the petiole attaches to the main stem, it's tripinnate. So there's 3 leaves attached at each node. So this is good ginseng family member, good medicine, good friend, good being for us to align with and connect with and appreciate. And yeah, we're going to take all of these ingredients that have all been ground up and chopped up and finely processed. Yeah. Oh, I almost forgot. Another amazing friend that we've got in here that's a classic root beer ingredient is sassafras. So we've got sassafras, Aurelia nudicalis, Rumex obtusifolia, Smilax bonanox, Lenta nigra, Nonatus obliquus, Paraxicum officinale. Those are all the ingredients in our root beer. We're going to take these and decoct them, and then we're going to add, so we're doing this is for a 5-gallon batch. So we're going to boil these in about 3.5 gallons of water, and then we're going to add 1 gallon of honey, And then we're going to add our starter culture, which we started to talk about earlier. This is just honey, water, honey that's been dissolved into water. And then we added fresh raspberries from Z's garden. Boop. So that's where we're getting our yeast culture from. And it's starting to get active. Normally I would like to do this like the night before or a couple days in advance so that the yeast can really get going. But this is good enough. It'll wake them up a little bit and give them a chance to start rapidly proliferating. It'll be a couple more hours too before we've finished making the tea and pouring it into the carboy and going through that whole process. So, but that's the basic long and short of how to make a mead. You just make a tea, add some kind of sweetener. It could be honey, it could be sugar, it could be molasses, whatever you've got. Maple syrup even would work. And then you add a culture. So this is our culture, this is our tea ingredients, and then we've got 1 gallon of the famous Haw Creek honey. This is a great honey producer down in the Asheville, North Carolina area. Whoop. And so we got a gallon of honey for 35 bucks, and we're going to end up with about 4.5 gallons of booze.
Sweet.
Seems like a good deal to me.
Ow!
Peace and
Health
love,
medicine.
family. Go make your own meads.
Yeah, yeah, and we can catch them. What we're gonna do? Show them a little of the.
Yeah, sure.
Other
We'll do another
process.
little video to show you some more of the processes after the tea's finished steeping.
So stay tuned.
Peace.
Peace be with y'all.